taking flight. Card Spring Training, sponsored by Woods Basement Systems.
Are you purposely slowing Sonny down at all, or I know you got to have somebody go later, but was that
not purposely? Just
okay.
When we planned out spring and where everybody was at, this was what made the most sense. Same with Fetty going tomorrow and going one inning rather than two. It's just we're making sure we're tailoring each progression to where guys are and being smart about it. I mean, it's a long season and you want to make sure you do it properly. So no more thought than just that.
Have you seen Sonny evolve as a leader, like you talked about putting Quinn's locker right next to his?
It's hard to say evolve, man. We got him because he was the leader, right? Like he does that well. He is intense, but brings people alongside of him. He's intentional with what he says and how he says it. He's solid when it comes to that. So evolve. I think we all continue to evolve as leaders, but this is a guy that had a pretty good foundation for that prior to us getting him over here. Yeah.
Ollie, what's the spring look like for Thomas Sajasi, a guy that got a little opportunity last year and now kind of looking to build on it?
Yeah, just go out there and compete. He had a good fall league. He understands what makes him good. He worked on a couple things when it came to just swing decisions. This is a guy that puts a lot of balls in play regardless of where they are in the zone, and he starts to hone that in a little bit and swing at more pitches in the heart of the plate. I think we're going to see a better version of him. He's already a good player, but we'll see even a more improved version of that. So he's aware of what he needs to do going into these games. And just go out there and compete, be himself, it comes easy to him.
He's a guy with a real kind of steady personality. Is that something that you feel can benefit a young player?
Yeah, he's definitely steady. He doesn't make too much of what's going on around him. Doesn't make the game much bigger than it is. So yes, his personality will serve him well. Yeah.
One last one on Sonny. He said the other day, yes, I'm 35, but I take care of my body. There's no reason I shouldn't still be able to perform because of the way he treats his body. You know, he takes care of his body in the off season. Do you kind of see that from him?
Yeah, that doesn't come to mind at all when it comes to Sonny's performance, age. Like, this is a guy that makes sure he's putting the right stuff in his body. He takes care of himself. He's diligent in that weight room. All the stuff that goes into recovery. Like, yeah, that hasn't even crossed my mind.
How did you see Eric Fetty finish last year? Do you think he kind of found a feel for?
Yes, but he'll also tell you he still didn't feel like himself with being able to deliver to the degree that he's capable of. And I think that comes with just being on a new club and trying to prove that you belong, that type of thing, right? But the more comfortable he gets, I think we'll see a good version of him, and we're already seeing that just in his personality and just his level of settling in.
I mean, that's a whole lot of change in 12 months.
You think?
Yeah,
no doubt.
New country, new team, all that.
Especially kind of coming over to a new team at the trade deadline, being highly sought after, and you want to prove there's a reason you're coming over. So all that plays into it. But I think as guys settle in, this fits him well. We'll see a better version of him. Yeah.
Libby going behind Fetty tomorrow.
That's correct. Libby will throw 2 innings after Fetty tomorrow.
What have you learned about Libby last year and his versatility? And ideally, a lot of you probably don't want to put players into boxes in early February. Where is he most valuable as you start to piece together your roster?
It depends who you ask. Like, if you're asking an organization, where is someone that has a high ceiling more valuable as a starting pitcher, right? Where did he settle in, and where was he most effective? It was as a reliever. I love seeing him in that role where he can pitch high leverage in a relief role and give you multiples if needed. But he also gives you the versatility where he's continuing to evolve as a player and mature, and you give him an opportunity to get stretched out during spring, and then make a decision as you have more clarity as to what the roster is looking like closer to breaking camp. So it's much easier for someone like him to adjust to, hey, we needed to go blow people's doors for an inning, than the other way around. So, yeah.
One thing in recent years, kind of over seasons, that you all have gotten maybe a little bit away from compared to years past is the frequency of turnover in the bullpen during the season. Maybe it was a little more static than they might have been, say, 5 years ago with roster rules and all that. Do you see maybe a different structure to that? There's a lot of guys this year that seem like they can contribute, but also have that versatility that can maybe help.
I think that's part of the roster construction. It will give us the ability to do that if needed this year. If guys are doing well and we're using them properly and they're fresh, and we can roll with the guys we have, but we do have the versatility to bounce back and forth between AAA and use that 40 man to our advantage. Yeah.
We learned about Hellman so far. He was a late ad.
Yeah.
Learned much about him?
I want to learn more, but up to this point, our conversations, his personality, he's open to fill in whatever role in order to be on the club and help the club. So it's a good start.
As far as the guys in that bullpen ranks, what kind of looks has Roderick Munoz given you, and just kind of what?
Yeah. The first thing that comes to mind in some of the conversations would be around creating a routine that'll allow for consistency. I think that's going to really help him, and we have the right staff to be able to do that and just continue to make that important to him. I'm sure it won't be the first time he hears that, but I think starting to create some consistency around how he shows up and just being purposeful behind everything he does will lead to a more consistent outcome on the field. Because stuff-wise, it's there. Yeah.
Is there a belief his stuff could kind of play up in a relief role?
That's the hope, right? Anytime you make that move from a guy having to go 3 times through to, hey, go get an inning, is that stuff's a little nastier for an inning. So that's our hope. Yeah.
Does it, the consistency you're talking about, obviously in the strike zone, in the strike
correct,
zone.
yeah.
Is that? Do you guys believe that's mechanical?
I think it's not as easy to just say it's mechanical. I think sometimes intent matters. Okay. And that's where a routine and being purposeful with how you play catch, how you show up, why you show up, plays into that as well. I think there's a mental aspect to it, but then there's also, for lack of a better term, repeating a delivery. Yeah.
I wonder, with a guy like him, you see him, everything's hard. I mean, he throws a lot hard. Does he have more command at a lower velocity, but then you have to measure in? Is it less effective, or is there anything like that with him?
It's hard to hit when guys throw hard.
Right.
So I'd like to keep it that way.
Okay.
Yeah, you got it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tony.